Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. All right, all right, all right. Hello. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. I'm setting things up in just a few moments. I'm going to bring on another incredible wine ambassador to the industry, newly wine ambassador to the industry, getting her feet wet tonight, Miss Maura Sweeney, and we're going to be talking wine and her journey into wine and all the things that she's been doing to prepare for her wine set certification, as well as what she does during the daytime, and that is being a speech pathologist for the young kiddos out there. So what an amazing story, what an amazing journey she has, and I'm so excited to bring her on. If you just joined me from the previous interview with Frances Gonzalez from Vegan Wines, please go ahead and follow her, support her, join her wine club. She's got some amazing products, and I'm going to be continuing to drink Chiabre, her 2017 Malbec from the Cachagua Valley in Chile, not Mendoza, Argentina, which we think usually most Malbecs come from, but an absolutely delicious, rhythmic style Malbec that I just dig. I just totally dig. Thank you all for joining me. And what I paired with the Chiabre is just some trail mix. This is Trader Joe's Go Raw Trail Mix, 100%. If you haven't done it, if you're just snacking around the house, this is a killer pairing with these style wines, especially things that are more earthy, earth-driven. When you have natural with natural, and this is 100% natural wine, no animal byproducts in there involved whatsoever. It just makes for a delicious marriage together. So hopefully you will go ahead and follow Frances on her page. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring my guest on. There she is. Wow, what an incredible wine. And I'm sitting out in my veranda. Welcome to Breaking Bread, everybody. Absolutely delicious. Hey! How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me on. This is my first
thank you.
live.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're getting your feet wet. I told all the guests right now to have about 5,000 questions ready for you.
Oh, perfect.
And the hardest questions. We're going to go from the WSET 1 all the way to 10. I know 10 doesn't exist, but how you doing?
I'm doing well. We had 70-degree weather in Denver today, so really enjoying it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just like here right now, we're probably in the high 50s, maybe
nice.
low 60s, if anything. We finally got a break in the rain, and we have a little bit of sunshine. So I'm sitting out in my veranda, drinking some great wine. If you had a chance to catch the last episode, we had the little Chiabre from Chiabre Malbec from Chile. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Kim Crawford Sauvignon Blanc today.
Oh, the Kim Crawford. I dig it.
Yes.
I dig it.
Yeah, I've been really loving the Sauvignon Blancs lately.
you like New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs?
I do, and I was thinking that region's probably been on my top lately. I think I've been buying them without even realizing I'm buying them.
Right.
And they're just so refreshing. So I've been enjoying
them. Oh, yeah. I dig New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs. I dig New Zealand. I also love Chile's. Chile's Sauvignon Blancs I love the rootiness of it. They kind of have a combination of this new world kind of aspect, kind of this old world grittiness about it, earthiness. But yeah, I dig Sauvignon Blancs. You know, it's so nice, especially when you have 70-degree weather like that. That's really nice. Are you pairing it with anything tonight? Are you pairing it with anything tonight? Are you pairing it with anything tonight?
Just the wine.
Just by itself.
But I was really enjoying that you were using Trader Joe's snack mix.
Nice. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the viewers out there. I always want to let the guest start it off, kick off the show. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm Maura. I am, by day, I'm a speech pathologist in an elementary school, which I've been doing for 2 years now, and I love it, but I also decided to get into wine, so I'm working on my WSET 1. Actually, I was supposed to take my exam last weekend, and there were some malfunctions because it was online, so can't say I've done that, but I'm close. Yeah, I'm originally from Illinois, and now I'm living out in Denver, Colorado.
So now you're starting your wine journey. You started. I love hearing the beginning, this beginning of the wine journey. We all have our beginnings. What was the pivotal moment where you just said, I want to do this wine set thing, or I want to do this wine thing?
You know, it's funny because it really came out of nowhere. All my whole life, I know that I've had like a really strong, specific nose, and I've always, like, my friends I think get annoyed because I'll walk into a room and I have to tell you what it smells like, and so, but I always joked about, like, oh, someday I could go into wine, and I never took it seriously. And then this year happened where we kind of all were like forced to find new interests and develop skills that we weren't expecting to keep ourselves busy and stay happy. And kind of just this fall, it just clicked, like, oh, wine actually would be really interesting. And I always joked about it, and it's going to be way harder than I ever imagined. But I figured, why not learn? And if I like really find a passion for it, then I can keep going and get into the industry, or I can just enjoy it as a hobby. So
So what have you found? So what have you found that, like, what was the most interesting thing that you found about studying wine compared to just drinking it casually? Was there anything just like totally off the wall?
Yeah, so I mean, there were so many things that surprised me. Even, like, to be totally honest, I came into this with like zero knowledge. So even learning like how a rosé is made kind of blew my mind versus like a white wine or a red wine. But I would say, like, the most mind-blowing thing is just how difficult identifying the tastes and aromas is, and also how satisfying it is when you actually get one that may be right.
Yeah, that's a tough thing.
So
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I've been enjoying the challenge, and I feel like there's always more surprises around the corner, so I'm excited to see what else pops up next. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, that was the one. I was going to say, that was the one thing that was very difficult for me when I started my wine journey. I actually broke my nose when I was a kid, and I had basically a deviated septum for like years. And it wasn't until it started really causing issues with my health and everything. So I actually got it fixed. But during most of my formal instruction, I really couldn't identify clearly. So after when I had the surgery, I started to realize, oh, well, this is what it smells like. I get it. It was so, like you said, when you finally get that, that's what it is. Oh my gosh, I never identified, because I was basically smelling from one side. I was using one nostril, and that was tough. And if I was getting anything out of wine, that was just tough. So now that you started on your journey with your wine set, like, is there a particular region or areas that you're starting to really dig that you really love as far as the history, the styles, the interpretations, or is there a particular several different ones that you're really digging?
So I haven't had so much time yet to get into like the actual history of the regions because I've been really learning like the basics. But I'd say that I have loved learning about anything about New Zealand in general. I love learning about. And so I'd
Uh-huh.
say Marlborough is one of my top. And then also I've been just more aware, I guess, of all of the Bordeaux's that I've been drinking because that's one of the only places I myself have gotten to visit. And so it's
Oh,
cool to
really?
connect that to like my own experience and being there and learning about the wine. And then back then when I visited, I obviously had no idea I was going to do this. So I
Right,
kind of wish I let it sink in a little bit more. But so those are
right.
probably the two that I'm most aware of and like most driven
Mm-hmm.
towards lately. Um, but I'd also say like Malbecs in Argentina pique my interest as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very cool.
lots to
Very cool.
learn.
Do you like the right bank of Bordeaux or do you like the left bank? Do you like more Cab Front or more Merlot?
I think I've been leaning more Merlot, but I feel like so because of my wine set and all of that, I've been tasting so many different wines. And so I
Right,
can't say that I've tasted like so many repetitions of the same wine, like same types of wine lately to tell you that like
right.
I feel like that for sure. But I think I lean more
Uh-huh.
Merlot in general.
Merlot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like the Saint Emilion side compared to the Medoc side.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it just has. I grew up with classic movies, so I always just think of Audrey Hepburn, and I think of Saint Emilion. I think that like that lightness that you still get that kind of that heaviness approach. It's kind of like that Roman holiday style of wine where it's kind of gritty, kind of funky, then
Mm-hmm.
it has this delicacy to it. That's what I love about the Saint Emilion side. But I do dig the Medoc side. I love Bordeaux. I actually got my like pivotal moment from drinking Rhone wine, and then I just started to discover French wines in general. But I love blends. Is there any
Yeah.
particular blends that you like? Other blends that you like?
Um, to be honest, I can't even tell you that yet. Still figuring that out.
I like that.
I'm gonna be very straightforward about how much I don't know so far.
No, that's good. That's good. But so as far as your goal, what as far as what you want to do, I know you just started this journey through like everybody, we all kind of had this pivotal moment through COVID to start saying, well, I need to do something and I might as well find something else that I can dabble in. And so what was your goal when you start saying, okay, I'm going to start studying for the WSET, and where do you want to go from there? Do you want to take it to being an instruction, something in the business aspect? Where do you kind of see yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm still kind of trying to figure that out. I think at the beginning, I really just wanted to make myself kind of get out of my comfort zone a little bit and try something I'd never done. Um, Especially, I mean, this was a kind of uncomfortable year, but so not to say that I was in a comfortable spot, but just to do
Yeah,
something brand new because I feel like in my
right,
job I'm getting more comfortable and wanted to challenge myself. Um,
right.
so I think once hopefully I pass the wine set one, I do want to go on level two and hopefully complete that this summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't really know where that will take me. I feel like it would be really, really interesting to get into the like production side of things and learn more about
Right.
like smaller wineries and how they produce their wine and kind of get my hands on the actual production. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
also I can't tell how far I want to go with it and balance that with the job I have now. So I think I'll just kind of have to see as I go, like what direction I get pulled in. Um,
Right.
but I also just, I mean, being a speech pathologist has been an interesting kind of other side of the coin to this because my whole life is based on communication and based on people and networking and just like building those connections. And previous to working in the elementary school, when I was getting my certification, I worked with adults who had had strokes or brain injuries. And for them, it's like they can't communicate at the dinner table, or they can't eat and swallow, which is something that we do as well. And wine just brings an interesting side to that, where it's like, oh, this kind of pulls together at the dinner table everything that my job does, and being able to communicate and make those connections. So I don't know, it could be really cool to somehow pull the two together someday, but I'm sure there'd be a lot of people for that.
No, that's very cool. I like that type of thinking. Was there now? I know that you're in Colorado, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I know that Colorado's even doing some winemaking. Have you seen anything from your particular area?
Yeah.
Have you tried anything from your area?
Yes. So the one that I have been trying recently, because I am just nearby to it, is from Carboy Winery, and they have like really good and really affordable like flights of wines, so you can go try out a lot of their wines. And I actually just booked a trip for this summer to go to Palisade, which is where kind of Colorado's wine country is focused, and where all the peaches come from that are used in a lot of things all over the country. Awesome. And I'm very excited for that, because you also can just bike around and go to all the wineries you want in like a day. So I'm excited to learn more about our local wine country and connect it to where I live.
And do you know what kind of climate that that wine country is? Is it up high? Is it mountainous? Is it hilly?
Yeah, so we're considered a high desert climate, I believe. So it's really hot in the summer. Not the winter is kind of flip-floppy. It goes from like today it's 70, tomorrow it's supposed to snow here. So it flips pretty quickly, but like night and day are it's pretty diurnal in terms of like at night it's freezing, during the day it's really warm. So cool. It's interesting.
And have you tasted anything good, like any particular varietals that you've tried just going to your favorite winery there? Have you tried anything that was just like, oh, wow, this is a great Cab or a great, Malbec? Have you tasted anything that was really good from there?
Yeah. So I would say I really liked, I'm trying to remember which specific, I liked their Chardonnay a lot, actually. And I'm not a huge Chardonnay person, but I really enjoyed theirs. And also their rosé, they kind of surprised me, because the wines I don't usually tend towards are the ones that I really liked from them. They were pretty, like, not to say dry, but like medium sweet and refreshing. And yeah, they were great. So I'm excited to maybe dig. I know there's some other like types of those wines that they have that aren't necessarily by the glass. So I'm excited to get to try those and maybe have a group to split a bottle with.
That's awesome.
So
that's
nice.
Awesome. And there's a question down there. It says, have you had Infinite Monkey?
Infinite Monkey. Oh yes. Hi Tess. That is my roommate.
Putting you on the spot.
Watching from somewhere else.
Nice.
So Infinite Monkey is another Denver winery, and I got to do a remote tasting with them, which was really interesting. And they have a few interesting wines, but the one that kind of stuck out the most to me was they make a Bellini, and all of their wines are canned, and they use the Palisade peaches from Colorado, and they use that peach juice to make the drink. And it was delicious. Wow. It kind of tasted like almost like refreshing peach rings, like that candy.
Yeah. That's cool.
It was really good, and we got to have a remote wine tasting with them and a cheese shop in Denver called So Damn Gouda, and it was really good. And I really love, like, they are all about using cans and being eco-friendly, but also making the best tasting wine possible. And their name is based on the idea of like infinite monkey theory, that if you just let a monkey type forever, it could type Shakespeare based on the theory, like of the infinite monkey theorem. So
That's wild. I like that.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
That's another Denver winery that I
like. That is great. That is great. Now, do you have a favorite? Since you started this, have you found a favorite pairing with your wine? Is there anything that just was man, I love this pairing?
So I think that we actually we've done a lot lately. It seems like I keep calling back to things that we were able to do, and we got a kind of charcuterie board from a local Denver company and paired, I think it was brie cheese with honey and a raspberry with a Sauvignon Blanc, and oh my gosh, it was so delicious.
Oh
and that one sticks out
that's
in
great.
my mind as I could eat that all day.
Have you ever had a brie quesadilla?
A what?
A brie quesadilla?
No. Oh my gosh.
Made from brie.
Thought about using brie.
You could do a brie quesadilla. You can do it with your favorite preserves. You could actually cut the rind off. Spread the, especially let it get down to room temperature, super soft, super gushy, like a triple cream, a triple cream brie. Spread that on a tortilla, then start heating that up. And then on the other side, use your favorite preserves, whether it's raspberry, peach, apricot, throw that on. I've used different preserves like that, and then even chutneys, and put that together, slice it up in little triangles. That would go great with you're talking about Sauvignon Blanc, Chards. Really, I love brie. Brie gets me into trouble.
Brie, I can eat brie all day.
Yeah, I practiced a vegan lifestyle for such a long, a while. I started to change. My doctor put me on more of a Mediterranean diet because I was competing as a cyclist, and so I started feeling okay, well, now I could have these type of cheeses, and I was really getting involved to wine and cheese pairings. And so brie always gets me in trouble, man. That is the worst cheese for it.
It's a dangerous cheese.
I always say, man. Yeah.
I have a question for you. As somebody who was vegan, what are your thoughts on the vegan cheeses? And do you have a favorite? I pretty much dig all the vegan cheeses that I've tried so far. I've tried the almond cheese. I've tried Follow Your Heart, Dia. All of them. I found that Dia melts really good as far as how it really traditionally melts, and it has a lot of simple flavors. And it was funny when I was going through my wine studies. One person that was into cheese with me, she said something. She said, cheese has a nutty flavor to it. All cheeses have a nutty flavor to it. So it's not really hard to replicate a cheese naturally using something that's other than milk. So if you could use almonds and so forth. And I didn't really understand it. And so I started tasting a lot of the vegan cheeses, and I was like, oh man, this is really truth, because you kind of taste a little bit of nuttiness to it. But I still dabble. I've done a wine and cheese pairing with Smart Dogs and Dia cheese, and people dig that. Yeah, people. I've done that for so many years, and it was it's so funny because people don't realize food is part of your wine combination. That is kind of historical. It's always been part of a feast. So when you put the two together, it shouldn't be an odd thing that you have a hot dog with your wine. And as I was talking at the beginning, I'm having trail mix with this vegan wine, this delicious vegan wine, and it absolutely the flavors of this wine is just bringing out almost the real texture and the in-depth flavor of the almonds, even the raisins and the cashews. So it makes them more vibrant. It makes everything pop. So I love that. I love that, having something that's odd. When people see that, they look at me and they're like, yeah,
that really must taste good. And you're like, yeah, you
Yeah.
probably have Fruit Loops on your donuts, huh? But no, I mean that's the thing about wine. It's so versatile. You can pair it with a lot of things. So and you can have fun with it, and you'll definitely discover that throughout your studies and throughout your journey. You're going to continuously start to experiment um, with things with wine, and you're going to go, oh, this actually works really great. You know,
Yeah.
I so yeah, I dig it. I dig it. I've paired my wines with I paired a Bordeaux, a Medoc Bordeaux with a Beyond Burger from Carl's Jr.
Ooh, Beyond
So
Burgers are great.
yeah, so yeah, Beyond Burgers are great. So I mean, Impossible Burgers. You could even do like I don't know if you have. Do you have In and Out in Colorado?
We just got a few in and outs. I would say that the lines are still like a few hours long, but we do have them.
Right. Yeah, see, you could do like if you're a vegetarian, you could do a grilled cheese animal style with their
Mhm.
spread and their cheese with grilled onions. Pop that with a bottle of wine, you're good.
That sounds
Yeah.
delicious.
You're like, I'm gonna get off right now, Corey. I'm gonna go and
Yeah,
eat
I'll be
something
right
because you're
back.
making me hungry. That's awesome. So, is there? Let me see. I was gonna ask. So, how do you see like as far as we're celebrating Women's History Month, and this is an important thing, and I found it just on from my point of view, being in the industry for as long as I have, sitting at the retail end of it, and seeing almost a disconnect, a separation of minority-driven producers, small family wineries, women-driven businesses. Where would you like, as far as where would you like to see that end? Since you're starting to begin your journey, what would you like to see happen as you're continuing your journey?
So I guess, I mean, I'd love to see more women and more minorities in general be represented in the industry, and I mean, in all industries, really, and just
Right,
have like more prominent voices, I guess, highlighted that are people who are underrepresented, which is great because you're doing that now, and it's awesome that you're like finding all of these voices to be shared and heard this month and always. So thank you for that.
right,
Um, but yeah, and I really feel like I just want to see that like the respect is also there and for all of those people and understanding, and I feel like being a very like historically male driven industry, there's just a lot of learning, like as there is with every person you meet. There's just a lot of learning to
right,
do and a lot of ways that things can open up and shift and um, just become more welcoming, I guess, and more inclusive. And I feel like in that way, like so many in my life, when I've experienced things like that, like things just explode and become just such a cool thing when everybody is welcome, when everyone is really embraced. So really
right,
that's what I'm hoping is just that, like, I feel like more things have kind of come out in the last couple of years about how the like wine industry may not be as welcoming as it seems, or it's just a little
right,
intense in terms of certain ways. And I think it's so important that those things do come out so they can change. And so I just hope that things can continue to grow in a positive way. And
right,
yeah, and that voices can be highlighted that are really going to move the industry forward and really
right,
just how people view wine and get creative and all sorts of things. So,
right. Yeah, and just like the last interview I had talking about vegan wines, the concept of, you know, she is a woman producer, woman distributor in a natural wine element, and to have a battle against that because she's not only selling vegan wines, but she's female, in a male
right.
dominated industry. Um, and that is something to me that I feel like, I feel as part of my voice I feel that needs to change big time. And it's I don't mind seeing, it's like everything else. I don't mind seeing the name brands out there because they're always going to be out there, but I want to see more diversity on the shelf. I've had so much restriction and so much battle on my end, and it's like, why? There's so much production out there. Why not bring it all in? Whatever we can to highlight it and highlight more than just, the Napas or the Sonomas or the France and Italy and Spain's, but have a category for small family or women production, minority driven, wineries. But that's the thing that I'm trying to deal with. And I'm glad that I get to share this time with you because you're setting your journey. You're on the entryway of your journey and you're getting your feet wet. And, for me, I want you to have success. And I think a lot of people that are in the industry that have paved the way for you to have your instruction are wanting you to have that success, to actually go beyond what they do, and I think that's important. Because if we don't do that, then you're going to have the same battles that everybody had, 20, 30, 40 years ago, and it shouldn't exist. We should have a lot of change with that.
Yeah.
So as far as like, as far as wines, do you find yourself going according to how you feel? Do you drink a white when it's like sunny outside, or do you drink a white when it's 6 below outside, whatever, when it's snowing outside? Is there a certain wine that you go to, which is your go-to wine?
So I would say that on a usual day, I'd say Malbecs are probably my go-to wine for like a typical day. And then I love Malbecs. They're my favorite. Not sure where I got them from. I don't think my family likes them too much, my parents, but that's okay. I'll drink them all. But I think that generally when it's really nice out, I do go for the Sauvignon Blanc, or like a really dry Riesling. I've really enjoyed Rieslings as well. But I'm not a very sweet wine person. So I tend towards the really, really dry Riesling.
All right. Very nice.
Yeah.
So so you like your Malbecs, you like your Rieslings, you like your Blancs? Is there any room for the Pinots or Merlots, anything like that?
Definitely room. I think I tend to buy them less often. And I'm going to be completely honest, I'm totally a read a book by the cover kind of person. Like if a label catches my eye, I'm going to buy it.
Right.
So I think the ones I go to in the store are the ones that I've named, but also if I see something that catches my eye and it's anything else, I'm like, I'm going to buy that too. So
right. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's generally how I end up with the Pinot Noirs.
You go by labels? Is that how you do it? Go by labels?
I actually had one. I'm trying to remember. It was a red blend from Chronic Cellars, and it was called Purple Haze. And that one I bought solely based on the label, and I loved it. That's a great one, and just ran into it because it looked cool. So
yeah, the labels are getting really, really funkadelic. They're getting really innovative. People are, oh, I like this bottle because it has this, this cool label, and that's why I bought it. So no, that's cool.
Yeah, I appreciate the creativity.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like to when I usually choose a wine, I usually like to, because I never had a chance to travel, especially now being a dad and we're in COVID times.
Yeah.
It's been a lot harder to get around, but even before pre-kiddo days, I always a friend. And the way I got into recycling, I would watch for friends, and I started.
Oh, Corey, I lost you for a minute there.
Can you hear me? You see me?
I do now. I lost you when you were saying before the kids and before COVID.
Oh yeah, yeah. No. I like I was saying, I was just gonna say I just traveled like because I haven't been able to travel, so I would just travel through, hey, I'll go to France today, and then maybe I'll go to California, go to Napa and stuff like that because I haven't really had the opportunity. And it's awesome to see like everybody when I see people on Instagram and stuff, they'll be like, oh, I traveled to Napa today, or I went to Monterey today, and I'm like, I need to get out.
I know, I really feel that way too.
So, what is it
But it is,
like? I what is it like studying for the WSET? What is it like? Because I heard it's pretty difficult.
so to be honest, I've heard that the WSET 1 and WSET 2 are just such a huge jump.
Jump.
So I think that level 2 is definitely going to be way, way more intense because I've connected with a few people on Instagram who are like, it's taken over my dining room, and I just like don't have any time.
Yeah. Flashcards and
But for the
stuff.
first level, I feel like it's been more of like, I don't know, I've been doing it online, so it's kind of at my own pace, which is nice. I've done it over a month. And so really it's whenever I have my own time. Thank you, Nina. I see my sister says she's been studying so hard. She's giving me a lot of credit. But
Bravo. I like it. I like the support.
yes, I appreciate it. But it's been cool to study. I feel like learning the basics, they really found ways to make it hands-on, like for tastings, even though I'm not in person with them. I feel like it's been really like most of the things that I've learned, I've been able to connect to those hands-on experiences in order to really like let them sink in. But where
Right.
I do struggle more is like memorizing the regions, like which things are in which region and all of those, especially without having been to a lot of the places. It's hard to like just kind of visualize it all. And I think I need to start as I move into level 2 doing like I've seen everybody tracing maps and like writing
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
in. I see that in my future. So far
Yeah.
it's just
Have you
been color-coded flashcards.
have you ever seen Psalm, the first Psalm?
Yes, I actually watched all 3, and the first one I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, these guys, it's their
Yeah.
life. It's so intense." But no,
Yeah. Like that guy Ian Gable, he would trace maps, and that's what I actually started doing, and then my kids started scribbling all over it.
and now
That way
it's
I wasn't
art.
able to keep that up. Yeah, but yeah, that might help as far as like uh, outlining maps, tracing maps. That might help a little bit. That was always difficult for me. Like I said, I never traveled to a lot of these regions. I would say 99% of them I haven't traveled, so it was just something that I would learn and I'm not a bookworm, so I'd have to look at videos or again, like I was saying, I would watch the Tour de France, and so I would watch them when they would go into certain areas. I'm like, that's where they're at. Oh, that's where they're going. They'd dip in
That's so
go
cool.
touch Spain for a little bit. So that's what that's how I really got to get an idea of what those regions kind of were. But I still, it's still hard for me to imagine because I haven't traveled. So that's a tough part. So I always
Yeah.
try to scribble.
Do you have
Um,
any other
what is
recommendations for studying as I go forward?
for studying? I think really it's don't limit yourself. Allow yourself to explore it all. Like as far as even what they say. I always use the training method of or example by uh, your farmer's market. Go to your produce section, smell things, constantly smell things. When I
Mm-hmm.
walk outside with my kid and it right before it rains, it's like, oh, that smells like wet, wet rock, or you get the so constantly you just have to constantly be involved
Mm-hmm.
every minute, even if you don't think about it. Try to engage in that and try to dig in as much like travel. Like I said, travel was something I haven't done, and I just learned from traveling, okay, I'm going to travel to Argentina today and just pick a bottle up and try it out and pair it up. And that's how you really get more knowledge, when you get hands-on and you taste it and you pair it, earth with earth, fruit with fruit, a lot of casual. Just I always try to just mix it up that way, and I think that's what makes it easy for me. And it worked for me because like I said, I'm not much of a bookworm, so it was easier for me to do the hands-on thing. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that's great advice. I love what you said about the farmer's market. And it makes me think of, like, you were talking about Psalm, the first movie, and I remember there's a woman in that movie who's just like, you may have never licked a rock, but I have, to try to figure out.
Like, exactly. Exactly. We do it as kids, but we don't do it as an adult. But yeah.
And this year, maybe don't lick so many things this year, but
yeah, exactly. But even like this, when I see what's in my glass, I always tell myself, if I was traveling through a produce section, what fruit do I see in my glass? So if I'm looking at reds, am I looking at strawberries, raspberries, currants, plums, dark plums? Am I looking at that in my glass? And that already starts to tell me, put things in your head, because a lot of it is see and then you smell. So once I start doing that, I start to really pick things up easier. Because remember, I told you I had that deviated septum, so I would have to do a lot more visual and kind of identify things like that. But I found that helped a lot of people that I would kind of talk to and help with their, like, buying. Hey, well, if you like this style, imagine traveling through your produce and this is what it looks like. And it makes it fun, and you start to realize, oh, this is what it looks like. This is what this wine looks like. So, it just, like I said, it just made it easier for me, and made it more fun. So hopefully that helps.
Definitely.
Every little thing, I guess, helps.
Yes, anything you got.
So, what would be your dream job in the industry if you had it? If you could do it, if you could see it, what would your dream job be in the industry?
I kind of have two completely different tracks that I think would be really cool. I think it would be, like I said before, it would be so interesting to be like hands-on in production and like work and like really live the life of like being at a vineyard and like seeing the behind the scenes. I also would think it would be really interesting to be like a buyer for some sort, like a restaurant or hotel or something that I like really loved and was passionate about. That would be such an interesting job. So two very different environments, kind of, that I can see myself loving, but yeah, who knows?
That's awesome. And what is the worst pairing you ever had? There's a question on the bottom. What is the worst pairing you ever had?
Oh, that's my sister. Thank you. I don't even know if I don't even know if I have a question answer to that. Do you have an answer to that?
It's always like a vegetable, like asparagus or something, when you have asparagus with a certain wine, but I can't really remember what wine that was, what I had. I'll tell you, one of my favorite pairings is Zin and guacamole and tortilla chips.
Ooh. Well, anything paired with guacamole and tortilla chips.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love Zin, and for some reason Zin, and I think it was because I was I was at a restaurant, a Spanish restaurant, and they brought, was it Spanish restaurant or Mexican restaurant? Can't remember, but they brought me some guac, and they had Ravenswood Zin. Have you ever had Ravenswood Zin?
Yes,
okay.
I have.
They had Ravenswood Zin, and I end up it's funny that I don't remember the restaurant, but I remember the bottle of wine
That's
that
a
I had.
pretty specific label, so
Yeah, and I just had the Ravenswood, and from that point on, the Ravenswood and the guacamole, I always said, then just goes so well. It just goes so good. So I always recommend that pairing. But I think probably the worst pairing is probably with something with asparagus, probably.
oh, that's interesting. Huh, well, I have to try this in and guacamole. I feel like I can't think of a specific bad pairing I had, but I feel like I've paired some pretty bad, I mean, like spicy food situations where it was like a high alcohol wine and it just did not go well and it like
Doesn't work.
burned.
Doesn't work. Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
work.
So now that we're getting close to ending our time, I gotta say thank you so much for taking the time, sharing your story, because like I told you when we first talked, everybody's gonna benefit from your story, whether it's the beginning, middle, the end, wherever you're at the crossroads. I think people learn from words, especially right now, to connect with people. We're all trying to connect. We're all trying to learn and do something positive. And every word that you said during our time together was very positive, and it's valuable. And you gotta look at it that way.
Thank you.
And I think you're gonna do very well. You got the drive, you got the passion about wine and what it's about, and I see you succeeding very well in the industry. Now, I got one big question for you, and like I said, since we're celebrating Women's Month, and you're basically concluding it for me, since I won't have any more guests for the rest of the month because we're almost at the end of March, right?
Yeah.
But I can't believe, where does the time go?
It flew.
But I've asked every lady that I shared the screen with this question. I think it's vital. But to all the future ambassadors, whether they're women or men out there, what advice would you give them if they're beginning their journey or the middle of their journey, if they're in the crossroads? What advice could you give them, especially because what you do as a speech pathologist, that's a really very vital job, and it's a tough job. And I got to applaud you, because we talked about my situation with my son, and so I give you every bit of applause that I can. You're doing really good work with that. So with both that, what would you give the future females out there that are getting started or in the middle or the crossroads? What advice could you give them?
I really feel like my main advice is to boil it down, just go for it. Like, I feel like no matter how intimidating it seems, and like especially for women coming into this who feel like it is so male driven, male dominated, I was so surprised when I decided to start this Instagram account, and I kind of got into the wine world a little bit and was just immediately embraced by men and women who reached out to me to welcome me. And I feel like it's really easy to convince yourself it's going to be a certain way, and until you do it, you have no idea what it's going to be like. And so far,
Right.
I've been so pleasantly surprised at how welcoming everyone is and how many connections I've made in Denver and outside of Denver. And so I would just say, don't convince yourself out of anything before you do it. And just throw yourself into it, and don't worry about your comfort zone, because you don't learn anything inside your comfort zone. So I think that's my main advice.
Awesome. Very well. And I wish you all the best. I wish you much success. You deserve it. Like I said, you're putting in your time, you're putting in the work, and please come back. I'd love to have you back and hear where your journey's going. It's important. I I appreciate your time. And since you've given me your time, sharing your time with me, sitting down with me, breaking bread with me, I'll do whatever I can to help. So if you need to reach out, or if you need people to connect with or anything like that, you need more information, just don't ever be afraid to hit me up. I'll be more than happy to help out. This is what I'm here for. We need to support each other right now, and this is one of the things that I've seen within the community right now, especially with the women community, is the support. When we need to do it, we need to break down the barriers, so you ladies can succeed, and keep on doing it. Don't stop. Like I said, you're going to do very well.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me on, and for having everybody on. I love that you're highlighting so many voices. So thanks so much for your time.
I appreciate that. And don't forget, if you don't follow Maura already, you could go up to the top where the arrow is. You could click on that arrow where it says Breaking Bread with Corey. You could follow her right now. If you want to support her, do what you can. We all need to support people like her. She is doing the job for us. She's out there making the way. She's the trailblazer for all of you that are up and coming. So you gotta do it. You gotta show her support. Thank you so much, Maura, for your time. And we'll definitely connect. I want to keep on talking with you about the things with my son and stuff. So thank you so much.
Yes. Of course. Thanks, Corey. Hope you
And
have
cheers.
a great night.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Absolutely. Cheers. Good times. Thank you.
Thanks, Corey. Bye. Thanks, everyone, for
Bye-bye.
signing on.
Thank you, everybody. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining Maura and I in this great conversation, Breaking Bread with Corey. If you don't follow her, please follow her. Please show her support in any way you can. It's women like her that we need to support. They're the trailblazers of this industry. And I'll say this, and I'll continue to say this again, if you're in the industry right now, if you have a pin on that lapel, if you're cracking the books, if you're already certified, this is what we need to do. We need to roll up our sleeves and support all women. We need to support all women in the industry right now. This is their time. What else do we need to do? We need to do it now. We need to support the minority businesses as well, and small family businesses too. This is our job, and we're ambassadors, and we got to lead by example. And people like Maura are really showing the world what women are made of, and we got to keep on supporting them. So thank you for joining me. If you can continue to follow me, and we're going to have much more to come. Like I said, on Breaking Bread, we are not just highlighting women for the month of March, but every day of every hour that we can. Join us on Thursday, where I'll be breaking bread with another trailblazer from the UK. And also I'll have a lead brewer, female brewer from Vista, California. I'll be joining me on Friday. So go ahead and check that schedule out. Follow me. Until then, please, everybody, stay safe, mask up, be healthy, and cheers.